Ding dong, the witch is dead. Witch, oh, witch, the witch is dead. Ding dong, the witch is dead.
Please, sir, we've done what you told us. We brought you the broomstick of the Wicked Witch of the West. We melted her.
Oh, you liquidated her, eh?
So we'd like you to keep your promise to us, if you please, sir.
Not so fast! Not so fast! I'll have to give the matter a little thought. Go away and come back tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Oh, but I want to go home now.
You've had plenty of time already.
Yeah. Do not arouse the wrath of the great and powerful Oz. I said come back tomorrow.
If you were really great and powerful, you'd keep your promises.
Do you presume to criticize the great Oz? You ungrateful creatures! Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain.
Let me ask every American and every person on earth a vital question. Were you awake enough to have noticed the political and media lies surrounding the death of the wicked witch of our times, Osama bin Laden? I'm sure that Osama, no matter what his motivations, was an evil man simply because he promoted the murder and maiming of innocent people. That's for sure. We're also told that he was behind 9/11. I think anyone who kills thousands of innocent men, women, and children is evil, period. But you know what? I also believe that anyone else who kills hundreds of thousands of people are also evil. The shocking fact is that the globalist media condemns some mass murderers while it honors others. I believe that supporting any kind of evil for whatever reason only feeds more evil. I'll never forget the words of that horrid little Zionist troll, UN Ambassador Madeleine Albright. Dan Sawyer interviewed her about the crushing embargo of Iraq. UN investigators found that the embargo led to food and medicine shortages, causing the death of more than 1 million people of Iraq, innocent people, mainly children and the elderly. The embargo didn't really hurt Saddam. He lived in luxury. Now, you might not believe me. Here, listen for yourself.
We have heard that 500,000 children have died. I mean, that's more children than died in Hiroshima. And you know, is the price worth it?
I think this is a very hard choice, but we think the price is worth it.
Now imagine if you had to watch your child or your elderly mother or father die because of an embargo that denied them food and medicine they needed to live. She was a hardcore Zionist, not only in policy but in pedigree, and she knew it too, but it served Zionist interests for the world to think she was representing America instead of Israel, as she was. According to the New York Times, no children died in the attacks on the World Trade Center, but innocent children died on the planes that struck the towers. You know what? If not a single other soul had died, other than those 8 innocent children on those planes, it's enough for me to condemn Osama as an evil man. But think about it. If causing the death of 8 innocent children is evil, what do you call causing the death of 500,000 innocent kids and then telling the world it was worth it to kill 500,000 children in an attempt to try to make Iraqis oppose Saddam Hussein? Nobody spent $3 trillion to bring Madeleine Albright or Clinton to justice for the death of 500,000 kids. No TV pundits demanded justice, no. And she's still honored on TV. And she has the chutzpah to tell us about our moral superiority over our enemies. Obama obeys his Zionist handlers, and his continued rendition and torture escalated the Afghan war and even tripled drone attacks and other bombings. Now those attacks have killed, crippled, or maimed hundreds of innocent children, 100 times more kids than allegedly killed by bin Laden on 9/11. And Obama, now bombs Libyan cities in which children, much like your own, live and play and sleep. The Iraq embargo and the support of Zionist crimes against Palestinians made millions of people hate America. Now, one of them was a guy named Osama bin Laden, who was an ally of the United States. In fact, America gave Osama money and weapons in his war against the Russians in Afghanistan. Osama helped escalate an Afghanistan war, just like Obama did. But unlike Obama, Osama didn't win a Nobel Peace Prize. After the war, Osama blamed American money and weapons for many Zionist crimes against Palestinians and Lebanese and turned his hatred to America. Now let's take a quick look at the lies. The first lie was that the Taliban was responsible for 9/11 because bin Laden ran around in the Afghan mountains. By that rationale, we must now attack Pakistan because Osama for the last 5 years lived in Pakistan right next to a military academy.
This is Pakistan's famous military academy, and it's famous because this is where all of Pakistan's army officers come to get trained, and it's literally about half a mile to a mile from where bin Laden was living.
The Taliban had about as much to do with 9/11 as Michael Jackson did. We were told we had to go to war and invade a whole country to get bin Laden and make our country safe from terrorism, but we didn't get him by invading Afghanistan. In fact, our invasion, much like Russia's, escalated the threat of terrorism by making millions more people around the world hate us and want to harm us. And then came Iraq. The media told us that Saddam Hussein was helping Al-Qaeda, a big lie. Actually, Saddam hated bin Laden and desperately wanted to be friends with America. But real Americans weren't running America. Israeli partisans were running America. The only problem with Saddam was that he opposed Israel and supported the Palestinians and the Lebanese victims of Israel. For that, the Zionist neocons and Zionist media turned Saddam from friend into enemy. Other than a few Jewish fanatics, no one wanted war against Iraq simply because it was Israel's enemy. So the Zionist neocons and their media told us the big lie that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction and was going to use them against America. After we conquered Iraq and spent $1 billion of your dollars looking for the weapons for which we went to war, it turned out that Saddam had told the truth. 10 years before the war began, he had destroyed them all. It's pretty bad when we find out we can trust the word of Saddam Hussein more than our own president and more than the media. Think of it. Mobile poison gas trucks, mobile biological weapons factories, yellow cake uranium, all lies. So we went to war in Iraq based on lies, and thousands of Americans have been killed, and hundreds of thousands of Americans have been maimed and wounded and suffered traumatic brain injuries for those lies. Far more harmed Americans than even in 9/11. Now, look at the lies surrounding the killing of bin Laden. And listen, let me make something very clear. I believe he was an evil man. The evidence is clear that he supported terrorism and murder of innocent people. But why must our government and our media make up so many lies, even about his death? Are not his evil deeds enough for us to hate him? When the word came out that bin Laden was dead, the lies sounded like a Hollywood script for an action movie. They told us how Osama was living like a Jabba the Hutt in $1 million mansion in Pakistan. Then it turned into a $250,000 mansion. Then it turned into a compound. And finally we saw the videos. It was nothing but a large shack, a slum house, if ever there was one. The White House first told us that Osama died in a firefight. Then they realized that the videos and witnesses would expose that lie. They confessed that Osama was unarmed. Now think about this. We made sure to capture Saddam and his 2 sons alive. Wasn't Osama the most valuable intelligence resource on Earth? Now they're telling us we might be in danger of a nuclear attack as reprisal. Osama alive is infinitely more valuable than dead. You know, every day American cops capture criminals alive. Even 99% of armed criminals are captured alive. So why not an unarmed Osama? They first told us that Osama used his wife for a human shield to save his cowardly hide. When I heard that said, I thought, man, they must have hired a Jewish Hollywood scriptwriter to insert into the script this scene where the bad guy cowardly grabs a poor woman for a shield. I'm surprised they didn't say that he used one of his own daughters. But later, they admitted the lie too. They blamed it on the fog of war. And then they quickly bury his body at sea. No independent verification of the body and the DNA. Just melt the body of the wicked witch into the sea. Finally, they show us Osama's videos, showing him watching news coverage of himself on TV and rehearsing his broadcasts as proof of a pathetic ego. I had to laugh. Do you think Obama never watches news coverage of himself or doesn't rehearse and make mistakes? I bet Obama rehearses a lot more than Osama ever did. Boy, they must think we're really stupid, don't they? Why the constant spin? I'm so sick of all the spin, all the lies. It's so Hollywood. It's so kitsch. Here's a video of bin Laden watching his little TV bundled up from head to toe. He looks like he's an ice station zebra. Old broken furniture lies around that the Salvation Army wouldn't even try to sell, and grimy walls abound. As they say in Louisiana, he didn't even have a pot to piss in. Now this is the man who supposedly did 9/11 and the main reason for 2 subsequent wars, which cost at least $3 trillion of your money and caused hundreds of thousands of brain-injured or maimed Americans. No internet, no phone lines, some thumb drives, and a few old Radio Shack-style computers. Now please show me the 16th century carrier pigeons. I'm waiting. Remember the old media diagram showing Osama in cave complexes with elevators, mainframe computers, automatic rifle racks, conference rooms, multimedia centers. They had to make him look really powerful. It was Al-Qaeda this, Al-Qaeda that. It was really all a big lie. He might have had some money in the beginning as his family was rich, but he obviously didn't have squat for years. He didn't even have enough money to heat his hovel. You see, Al-Qaeda is not a real organization. It's an idea. And that's the real danger. I believe that only a tiny number of attacks around the world were directed by bin Laden. Most people now attacking us are people motivated by the same things as bin Laden and who are sick and twisted enough to be inspired by the evil carnage of 9/11. But think of it. He's been in the shack in Pakistan for more than 5 years. What does this tell you? Think for yourself, folks. If he could do it from there, he could do it from anywhere. If we can find him and kill him there, we can find him anywhere. It's proof that we didn't have to go to war against Afghanistan to get Osama or an Osama wannabe. So 10 years of war in Afghanistan and Iraq was for nothing, nip, nada. It didn't get us Osama. It got us hundreds of thousands of maimed or brain damaged or dead Americans, at least 1 million dead civilians in Iraq and Afghanistan, mostly innocent people. It raised enormous hatred against America and has spawned more terrorism against us. It has made us less safe, not more safe. It has been a huge factor in our bankrupted economies, harming untold millions of lives. And it set the world cascading toward hate and war and chaos and death. And it shrunk the liberties for which America was a beacon to the world. Osama didn't hate American freedom. He didn't care whether we had freedom or we didn't. And you know what? It's the Zionists who truly hate American freedom. They love this clash of civilizations to take the spotlight off of Zionist crimes. And they want to take away our liberties so we cannot effectively resist their tyranny. They want to tell you about the evil of Gaddafi, while Israel recently killed 1,200 men, women, and children in Gaza. There was never a no-fly zone over Gaza. What got Osama was not any war. It was great intelligence and a tiny strike team of dedicated and brave men. Ding dong. The witch is dead. The wicked witch is dead. Let's declare victory and bring our brave lads home. Let's expose the Zionist lies, de-escalate these wars, and stop doing things that make millions of people hate us, such as making war based on Zionist lies. Let's realize that the ultimate threat to America is not some creepy guy in a slum room in Pakistan, but the evil men who run the media and influence government and lead us to these horrific wars that don't protect America or make us safe, but bankrupt us, harm hundreds of thousands of our best and bravest. Let's put America first, not Israel or any other nation. By doing so, we will make ourselves much safer, much happier, much more prosperous, and much freer. Ding dong, the witch is dead. Truly patriotic Americans say, bring our boys home to Kansas. We don't need them on the Pakistan border or Iraq border. We need them on our own border. That's where America faces the ultimate threat to our heritage. As Dorothy says so passionately, there's no place like home. Let's save our own home, our own liberties, our own children, and in the process make the whole world a better and a safer place.
Oh, Auntie Em, there's no place like home.